just did a book haul and I'm doing another one because I can't stop buying books. Literally, it's a problem. Like, someone, come on. Actually, I was gonna say someone stop me, but don't actually, because I'm having the time of my life. And these are all the books that I picked up. I think I have 12 here, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna go through all of them. I actually already started reading one of them, which I love. They're pretty much all romance, but then there's like one or maybe two thrillers in here. And no, there's one thriller and one memoir. So hope you guys enjoy. Definitely subscribe because I upload videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so you guys can see all of the book things that you guys need to see in one place every week, 3 times. So yeah, let's just get into this haul. Count all the books again, and I actually have 13 books, but the first book that I have to show you guys is Malibu Rising. I picked this book up because literally I fell in love with Daisy Jones and the Six. I actually was planning on reading it only because the show was coming out and I knew that I needed to read it before it started on, I think it's HBO Max or Prime Video or something. And that's literally why I bought it. I don't even know what it's about, but I just love Daisy Jones and the Six so much, and I've heard so many good things about this one, so I picked it up. If you guys aren't watching the vlogs, you definitely should, because I do a lot of book shopping in vlogs. I think in the last the last 3 or 4 vlogs I've went to a bookstore, and I ended up picking up this book in the bookstore when I was in Las Vegas, and I picked it up because of the cover and the back. It looks really good. It pretty much is about a girl named Queenie who seems like she's in a spiral, and she's asking herself, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who do you want to be? Like, a lot of questions that I feel like just as people we ask ourselves, and it kind of seems like a coming into your own type book. But I literally had 3 people DM me and say that they heard that this book was bad, but they didn't read it. So I don't know if it's actually bad or if it's actually good. I really don't know, but I'm gonna read it and let you guys know my opinion, because maybe one person read it and said it was bad and then just told the rest of the world that it's bad and no one's reading it because of that, but this could be an incredible book. You never know. So I'm gonna read it and let you guys know what I think. So on the front of this book, it says that Jasmine Guillory pretty much gave this book glowing reviews, so I had to pick it up, and it's called Honey Girl. And I actually haven't read a lot of books about people in the LGBTQ plus community, and I really wanna add that into my diverse reading this year, because I think diverse reading is just so important. You guys literally hear me harp on that so much. And this book, I heard about it from I can't remember, someone made a I think YouTube video about it. I literally can't remember, and I was like, okay, I need to read that. And it's about a girl who pretty much is a straight A student. She does everything perfectly, and she's not the type to go to Vegas and literally randomly get married to someone, and she does, but then she ends up falling for her, which I think is just beautiful, because obviously it wasn't planned. And on the back it also says that Christina Lauren, who you guys know that I love, she wrote Love in Other Words, one of my favorite books, 5 out of 5. She wrote this story is about finding your place in the world, about finding love and accepting it by learning to love yourself. Honey Girl is a brilliant debut, so this must be a debut novel. I just cannot wait to read this, because Jasmine Guillory said Honey Girl is an emotional, heartfelt, charming debut, and I loved every moment of it. So you guys know that I love whenever writers give good recs to other books and say that I should read them, because if the writer that I love also likes it, I'll probably like it. So I'm excited for this one. This book is one that I picked up in another vlog. I think this was when I was in Arizona, yeah. And I picked this one up because I want to add more thrillers into what I read this year. I will say that thrillers can sometimes be heavy for me, and I feel like I love the lighthearted read of a romance, and thrillers sometimes just I don't know, put me in not the best headspace, maybe because it's usually someone dying or getting murdered or whatever. But I've heard great things about Riley Sager, and so I picked this one up, and it's about someone who I think is kind of looking into someone's house, being a little bit of a creep, and then they see that the couple that they've kind of been looking at doesn't have the perfect life that everyone thinks that they have, and some things go awry. And then I'm pretty sure, yeah, one of them ends up, the wife, she ends up disappearing, and she immediately suspects that the husband is the one who has kind of maybe did something to make his wife disappear. But I guess there's more to this book than meets the eye. and I've never read anything from Riley Sager, so I'm excited to read this one. I didn't show this book in a vlog, but I did show this book in an Instagram story, and if you guys aren't following me on Instagram or TikTok, you definitely should, because I talk a lot about books there as well. And this book I got from a little like blind date with the book. I went to an art gallery and they had like a little thing that you could buy, like a book that was closed up, and I picked this one, and I literally was not planning on buying this book to read, literally was not. And I think it's because I watched the movie and then I heard about the ending and how there's like some sketch stuff about the author, I think, or maybe it's not the author. I don't know, I can't remember. I just like heard some like sketch things. And if you guys have watched the movie and you guys have seen the ending, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But I heard, and I don't know if it's true, so I mean, take it as you will, but I heard that the ending of the movie is similar to like something that's actually happened in the author's real life, and they were like kind of writing their life and using it as a way to kind of let like something off their chest. Don't know if it's true, so don't quote me on it, but I've heard it from a lot of different like people who've read this book and have just like watched a lot of commentary on the movie. But I want to read the book because I've heard that it's better than the movie. I just hadn't picked it up, so now that I had the little blind date with the book, I have to read it now. So I'm excited to read this one as well, because I love the movie and I think the book will be really good too. I showed this book on Instagram because I actually went on a little bookstore date with Brady, and I showed that over on TikTok as well. The bookstore date and everything we did for Valentine's Day, and it was so fun. But he picked up a couple books for me, and this was one of them. I actually ended up buying this book because I have the rest of the books in this series from Colleen Hoover. Just I didn't have this one, and I literally forgot about this one. And then one of you guys commented when I said that I had like the whole series. They're like, oh my god, like don't forget, you need to get Finding Cinderella. So now I have all the books. I've read Hopeless, but I haven't read Losing Hope. I haven't read this one, obviously, and then the other books that are in this series I have not read. So I'm really excited to kind of finish out the series, because Hopeless was one of my first Colleen Hoover books, and I read it in like 2013, I think, and loved it. So I feel like I'm gonna love these too. This is the memoir I picked up, and I picked this up when I was in Vegas, I'm pretty sure. I picked this up because my friend Nancy was like, you have to read it, it's so good. And then I posted on Instagram my stories. I was like, hey, has anyone like read this book? And so many people were like, oh my god, it's like life-changing, you have to read it, it's incredible. And it's a memoir about a woman who was kept out of school, and I think her family just like kind of doesn't like trust the government, so they like lived up in the mountains or something. And so she was kept out of school like her whole life, and she ends up going to earn a PhD from Cambridge. And it's just a really like cool like coming of age story, and it just, I don't know, I would guess warmed everyone's heart, and it was a bestseller in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Boston Globe. And it's also one of President Obama's favorite books of the year and one of the most acclaimed books of our time. So have to read it, literally. It was named one of the best books of the year by Washington Post, Oprah Magazine, Time, NPR, Good Morning America, The Guardian, The Economist, Financial Times, Bloomberg, Publishers Weekly, Book Riot, New York Public Library, Bustle, and so many more. So I have to read it. You guys know I'm not big into memoirs, but I just heard that it's like literally life-changing, so I'm really excited to read this, especially because so many of you guys love this one too. So this book is about a woman who I think is in love with a man, but he's also in an open marriage. So I actually haven't read like anything that has that type of relationship dynamic. And again, I want to read more diverse books, and you guys know I love romance, but again, I want my like romance books to have lots of different relationship types or friendship types, or just different characters and different things that I can kind of just like learn from, or just have a different perspective of. And so I'm really excited to read this because I feel like since it's so different, I will really come away after like reading this with a different perspective on different types of relationships and things, and it just looks like it's a good one. This is a book that's actually not released yet, but it's gonna be released very, very soon. I'm pretty sure it's in March, and I was sent this as just a little like, I think it's called Arc. I don't know. I literally don't know because I've only been sent, not only, but I've been sent 2 books that haven't been like released before. And this is only the second one that I've ever been sent. So I don't really know what they're called. But I'm really excited because I'm halfway through this already and it's so good. It's just so cute. It's about pretty much gentrification, which you wouldn't think is cute, but I feel like what's cute about it is I think that this is a YA, or if it's not YA, it's just definitely a really like lighthearted way at looking at the world, and I think that that's nice because I always love to learning books, but I don't like it to be like super heavy, you know? And this talks about pretty much how in this area, tons of new businesses are coming in and like wiping away the older businesses and establishments that are there, and they're raising the rents and just making it hard for the community that already lives there to live there. So this girl and her friends decide to create a fake gang because they know if people think there's a gang in the town that they'll like leave. So they create a fake gang, and then some like other people in the town, they start like actually like taking that gang that is literally not real, like they just like made like pictures and videos and stuff to like make people think that there's one, and they started taking it and making like an actual gang real, and then someone ends up dying. So then that's like everything is said on the back, so you guys can like read that. I didn't like spoil anything. But yeah, I really love this one. Also, the cover is so beautiful. It's a hardback and the words inside are really easy to read. I actually am gonna go drop a couple of these books into some book libraries this month because I feel like this is just a really good book that you can like learn something, but also in a lighthearted way and in a fun way, and who doesn't want that? I picked up this book along with Malibu Rising, and then another book I'm gonna show you guys. I think there's maybe one more, but I can't remember. I'll tell you guys in a second. I just have to like look at the books. But I picked up 4 books when I went on a little bookstore date with Taylor. I showed you guys that over on Instagram. And again, you guys have to follow me on like all like TikTok, Instagram, everything, because there's some stuff I like just can't share here because I would literally have to have my camera out at all times, but I share it somewhere. And so just follow me everywhere and you'll see it. But I picked this up when we were on our little bookstore date, and this is called Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and it's about Tabitha Walker, and she's a woman who has a plan to pretty much have it all. She's 33 and she has her dream house, her dream education, her dream job. She is like marriage material, like all these things, check, check, check. She is just so like pretty much has the perfect life, you would think, and then she ends up getting an unexpected diagnosis that brings her picture perfect life crashing down. And I think it really is just like a book that talks about like what is the meaning of life and like what true perspective should be and what we should really focus on. And it's also written by Jane Allen. She's a graduate from Harvard Law School. And I don't know, I just thought that this looked like a really good book, and I again love the cover. Heard great things about it. Looks like it's a super easy read, so another one that I'm excited about. I heard mixed reviews about this book, and I just don't know how I feel about it. So if you read this book, comment below and like let me know if it was good. I've heard it wasn't so good from some people, but then other people say it was like super good. So again, let me know what you think. But I got this in a blind date with the book. I got 2 books, and one of them was Where the Crawdads Sing, the other one was this one, which I showed over on Instagram. It's called We Were Liars, and the back says, if anyone asks you how it ends, just lie. We are Sinclairs. We live, at least in the summertime, on a private island off the coast of Massachusetts. Perhaps that is all you need to know, except that some of us are liars. So I don't even know what it's about, but it says that it has like a twisty ending, and I don't know, it was a New York Times bestseller, which is always a good thing. I've heard so many good things about this book, and I've almost picked it up so many times, and I just decided to get it this time because I was like, what the heck? What am I doing? Like, why haven't I bought it yet? And I got this in my little bookstore date with Brady. Again, it was so fun. I shared it over on TikTok and Instagram. It's called You Deserve Each Other, and it's about a couple who they are engaged and they're like getting ready to get married, but then both of them are kind of like, are we like, do we need to do this? Like, is this like for us? And they both kind of want out, but it says the catch is whoever ends the engagement will have to foot the non-refundable wedding bill. So Naomi, she's the main character, she pretty much finds out that Nicholas, who is her fiance, he's also been like wanting to get out of their engagement just because, like, you know, life has gotten in the way, and they never fight. They're never really connected. But then I guess they both start like doing these like pranks against each other to try to make the other one want to like get out of the engagement, like while they're like planning the wedding and like getting close to the wedding date. And then in that, I think they end up falling in love. At least in the back it says, now that they have nothing to lose, they're finally becoming themselves and having fun with the last person they'd expect, each other. So I feel like this is kind of like a second chance romance almost, even though they don't like break up, I'm assuming. But I've heard great things and I can't wait to read it. I picked up this book along with Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, Malibu Rising, and Honey Girl. That was the other book that I was trying to think of earlier, but I picked up all of those on my bookstore date with Taylor. This one is one that I've heard great things about. On the back it says that Taylor Jenkins Reid said it's a sharply written story with messy, deeply moving characters, raising a brutal question and steering clear of easy answers. A book that will stick with you long after you turn the last page. And I'll read what it says, but it says, an arresting debut about 3 very different Black women linked to the same influential white man as they build new lives in Stockholm. And it says it's told through the perspectives of each 3 women. It's a deeply nuanced contemporary social novel that explores the deepest depths of what it means to be a Black woman navigating a white-dominated society. And I just cannot wait to read it. There's obviously way more on the back of the book, but I just don't want to like, you know, have you guys sitting here for 10 hours like reading it. But it looks like a really, really good book. It starts off with this successful marketing executive whose name is Kimmy, and it says she's lured to the US to Sweden by Johnny, who's the CEO of the nation's largest marketing firm, to help fix a PR fiasco involving a racially tone-deaf campaign. A killer at work, but a failure in love, Kimmy's move is a last-ditch effort to reclaim her social life. So she's like the main character, but there's also 2 other women. They have different stories, but they're all connected through Johnny, who's the CEO of this marketing firm. Can't wait to read it. I love books that are told from like 3 different perspectives. I feel like I learn a lot when I read books like that. So that's all 13 books. I hope you guys enjoyed this little haul. I picked up some in Barnes & Noble bookstore. I picked up some in bookshops that are independent bookstores in Arizona and in Vegas. Poison Pen was one of them, and the other one I can't remember. It was the bookstore that was also a coffee shop. If you guys follow my Instagram stories, you guys will know what I'm talking about. The coolest bookstore that I've seen in a very, very long time. But I did like tag it and everything on my stories. And then I love shopping independently, and I also love shopping with Barnes & Noble, but I also love shopping through bookshop.com, which I've been doing recently so I can support my own local bookstores. So I have another haul coming because I just bought more books. I also did buy some books from Amazon as well, and I just like to share the love as much as I can, especially with independent bookstores, because I think it's really important. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to subscribe and have a great rest of your night. Bye guys.